Hey, honey,
Yes, Barry?
let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin ti naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler. I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Hey, maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez. Now, Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants. Those are the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos beach, and the El Dorado restaurant and beach club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week we are going to head out to Colonia, Ixtapa in Puerto Vallarta for breakfast. It's a very unusual and beautiful restaurant. You're going to be dining in this place surrounded by an incredible collection of orchids. The place is called La Casa de las Orquideas, or House of the Orchids, and you're going to be meeting part of the family. His name is Carlos Lepe Rios. Carlos and the family not only serve up a delicious breakfast and lunch, but they have a very interesting story. And speaking of orchids, we're going to be visiting with Bob Price from the Vallarta Botanical Garden. My wife and I just got back from a week in paradise, so we have a lot to say about that. We have Vallarta news too, so before we get to the Botanical Garden with Bob, and before we get to Carlos with his cool Ixtapa breakfast restaurant, La Casa de las Orquideas, let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta, the 10th of May, 2023. And happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. It is Mexican Mother's Day, that is. The fires are out for now, and the smoke is clearing from the air, but for the last week and a half, there have been fires in El Tuito, in that El Tuito area. It's very dry in Puerto Vallarta right now, and it's going to be that way for about a month and a half until, well, the summer rains finally come around the middle of June. So everybody is on high alert in town. It's always nervous time this time of year, especially when you look up at the mountains that surround Vallarta and you spot a little column of smoke, and you start to wonder if that's an intentional burn or something else, maybe unattended. So the firefighters, many of them are volunteers. They did a great job. They even got assistance from the Vallarta Food Bank, who collected food and drink and other supplies for the firefighters. And they also got their special mobile water tank into action as well. And that's that tank that Jimmy was talking about a couple of weeks ago when we were at the Vallarta Food Bank with the podcast. So very good for you guys over at the Vallarta Food Bank, and to all the other folks and all the other organizations that stepped up to help feed and water the firefighters. Great job by everybody there. Stay vigilant, and, time to pray for an early rainy season, if you ask me. Not all at once, please. Not all at once. Just enough. Okay, last time we talked, my wife and I were getting ready to fly into paradise. We were flying from Los Angeles, California, into Puerto Vallarta. We were going nonstop via Delta Airlines. And that cost us, if you want to know the price on it, that was about $370 per person on that one. Anyway, for some reason, probably because I'm really a cheap guy, and more than likely, I didn't pay for a specific seat for the flight, if you know what I mean. So Anyway, the lady at the ticket counter asked me if it'd be okay if she put Debbie and me across the aisle from each other. She didn't have two seats that were together. So I said no problem. And so I was kind of forced to be nice and strike up a conversation with my new rope partners that were sitting right next to me. And they were a couple from Washington State. They were a little odd, but they were telling me about their last visit. It was before the pandemic, and she said she injured herself when she was bike riding, and she needed to go to the hospital. And the story she told was that they wanted to charge an ungodly amount of money onto her credit card just so that they could look at her. And she said it was a big mess. And she talked to me about her insurance company at home, who wouldn't cover the stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, well, I said out loud, I said, hey, you should have had traveler's insurance. And she asked me what that was. And so obviously she was out there again traveling without traveler's insurance. So I say, I think it's time to remind you that, if you're traveling to Mexico, then you should be supplementing your trip with some traveler's insurance. It's a very reasonable price for traveler's insurance. It's not expensive. And it protects you in more ways than just medical. Now, I suggested that they buy it when they get to their hotel. And I've done that before, by the way. I've forgotten to buy it before I've left. Not a good idea, but I've done it twice. And the wife, she always, she reminds me. She says, so did you buy the insurance? And I say, yes, dear. And then when I hang up, or before I hang up, I tell her, hey, I'll send you the information in just a few. And then I go right over and I buy it and send it over to her. But I could do that from Puerto Vallarta. You can do that from Mexico. You don't have to do it from home. But you miss out on some of the benefits if you don't do it before you leave for your vacation. So now I've been using Safety Wing, Nomad Insurance, and there's a bunch of others that we've talked about over the years. We've talked about them with other insurance people on this podcast before. There's one called Alliance. There's one called Seven Corners, Travel Guard, World Nomads, Tin Leg. There's a bunch of them. Actually, I have a link to an article that I found. I put it in the show notes, where there's about a dozen of these that they list here. That was an article I lifted from U.S. News and World Report. And like I said, you can find that in the show notes, as well as a link to Safety Wing, which is that Nomad insurance that I buy. So you buy travel insurance for medical coverage. For instance, if you're in an accident, or if you get sick, or if you need medical assistance, while you're out of your home country. And by the way, Safety Wing will cover you when you're still in your own home country, which is interesting. And then you also buy it because they have a little travel insurance going on there. They have coverage for things like delayed travel and lost luggage. Here, let me just see here. See the one that I have here from Safety Wing. They have trip interruption. They have travel delay up to $100 a day. The trip interruption up to $5,000 with no deductible. Lost checked luggage up to $3,000. Natural disaster, our new place to stay, up to $100 a day for 5 days with no deductible. Political evacuation, I wonder what that could be. Up to $10,000 lifetime maximum, it says there. Let's see, emergency medical evacuation up to $100,000 lifetime maximum, not subject to deductible or overall maximum limit. So that's pretty cool. They cover accidental death and dismemberment, and they've got little prices there for, if you lose one or two or three limbs. You can look it up. You can see it in the show notes. You can find it over at www.portovallartatravelshow.com. But you can see that there is a lot of good protection if you buy this kind of insurance, as traveler's insurance, and it's all less than about $100 for like a 2-week trip. And it can come in really, really handy, especially if you need it, like medical attention in paradise. And on top of that, it gives you peace of mind when you're on your tropical vacation. And it'll free some of that space up in that gray area there while you sip on a tasty margarita. So, hey, buy your traveler's insurance if you want to be smart and you want to keep out of the poorhouse. And if you don't have that form of coverage, the hospitals around here are going to want to charge you your credit card something awful. So if you become sick or injured or something like that, trust me on this. They will charge you. The hospitals are good. It's just that the emergency services are just through the roof. So get the coverage. Speaking of margaritas, have you noticed that the margaritas around town are coming in smaller glasses? Or is it just me? I mean, anyway, why don't you tell me where your favorite place in Vallarta is for a real margarita? Like, the kind that, comes in one of those rounded fishbowl kind of glasses, not one of these little shot glasses, you know what I mean? The one that I like is they serve a great one over at Restaurant San Lucas, and they still do serve it in that fishbowl margarita glass. Of course, the other one is over at Peepee's, which is huge. It's as big as your head. But anyway, what are your favorite places in Vallarta to get an honest, good-sized margarita? Please send me an email. Let me know. Share it with me, and I'll share it with everybody else, okay? Speaking of restaurants and margaritas, we have Mother's Day in Margarita today, the 10th of May. They do it differently in Mexico. The holiday is celebrated on a fixed date. It's celebrated on the 10th. Well, in the U.S., we celebrate Mother's Day, what is it, like the second Sunday of May? Is that what it is? I guess that would be right. At any rate, either way you celebrate it, there are many restaurants in town that are going to be celebrating both days and even days in between. One of those is Michael Tolosan Robles. He is the autistic savant artist who we had on the show a couple of months back. As you know, if you listen to that interview, he told us about a restaurant that he was building above the gallery. And the restaurant, I told you about it as well. It's called Savant, and it's just a beautiful place. He gave my wife and me a tour of the place, and I have a couple pictures in the show notes. I'm going to save them for an interview that I'm going to be having for him a little bit later on. Not today, but in a couple weeks. Anyway, over at Savant, they're offering a free glass of wine with your entree, and that is until the 14th of May. So go on in there and have a little bit of sip of wine and enjoy a lovely meal. Now, I spoke with Michael, and like I said, I will be bringing that conversation to you in the coming weeks. And we're going to be talking about this beautiful restaurant, which is not just a restaurant. It's an art gallery, which is above his art gallery, which is just spectacular. And, I'm going to tell you right now, along with the delicious food, this place has the nicest, most comfortable chairs in Puerto Vallarta. And I'll tell you what, that is a sticking point in this town, right? Comfortable seats for your seat in restaurants are really hard to come by. And that's no joke. Oh, and the bathrooms over in Michael's restaurant are out of this world. And I'll leave it at that. I will be talking about that at a later date. So Savant Restaurant is open, and coming soon to Puerto Vallarta Travel Show, we will have an interview about it with Michael. So great job, Michael. I love that guy. And so does my wife, which is trouble for me when you think about it. Now, speaking of restaurants, we are fast approaching Restaurant Week in Puerto Vallarta. And Restaurant Week is a great opportunity for restaurants and for visitors in Puerto Vallarta and around the Riviera Nayarit to be known and make themselves known to a broader audience. So during Restaurant Week, every restaurant offers the public a 3-course menu, I should say. with 3 options each at a fixed price that doesn't include drinks or tips. The restaurants that participate in Restaurant Week offer their menu prices at 344 pesos, 459 pesos, or 575 pesos per person. That included the value-added tax as well. Now, of course, with the rising prices, and they are rising everywhere in Vallarta, not just around your town, but even in Puerto Vallarta, prices may vary. We will see as we get closer to the 15th. But the 19th edition of Restaurant Week by Vallarta Lifestyles takes place from May 15th till June 10th, 2023. And like we like to say, Restaurant Week is really not Restaurant Week. It's really Restaurant Month. They're going to have over 40 restaurants participating. There's some new ones that I have not seen before, and I have a list of all those participating restaurants in the show notes. And if you are in town, it is a great opportunity for you to find a new favorite restaurant in Puerto Vallarta. I also have their Facebook link in the show notes as well. And if you're in town, like I said, enjoy Restaurant Week, or I guess it's Restaurant Month, whatever, May 15th till June the 10th. All right, when we spoke last, I was flying into Vallarta with my wife, and we were expecting a big protest. They were going to have a big manifestación in town, right there in Vallarta, about the new automobile verification program. This is a smog verification testing program. It was rolled out by the state of Jalisco, and the entire pueblo is up in arms. They had planned a big protest for the day that we were landing. They were planning to block off Highway 200 to traffic, causing all sorts of problems. And we were prepared to walk if we needed to. But as it turned out, when we emerged from the airport terminal to catch our cab, I asked the driver about the situation, and he said that for the traffic going south, there was no issue, actually. But he said that the protest was up the road. It was north of the airport. So it turned out that those that were heading to Nuevo Vallarta, folks that were going up to Bucerías and Punta de Mita and Sayulita, Lo de Marcos, San Pancho, and so on, they were being delayed. And some of them were delayed for up to 4 hours, which is a total bummer for them. But the traffic to the hotel zone and to downtown Vallarta was wide open, so that was a big relief for us. We didn't have to walk. And so as we headed to our friend's Casa, we went over and we stayed with Debbie and Ray, our Canadian buddies, in their cool house in PTL. So I can't thank you guys enough. You are so wonderful letting us stay with you, and we had such a great time with you guys. Anyway, as we drove to PTL, I began my survey, and it was a survey that I took with every taxi driver and every Uber driver that I ran into for the entire week. And the question was in my survey, what do you think about the vehicle certification deal? And anyway, this first guy said it was no big deal. So I was a little surprised. First of all, there was no manifestación, and then he was saying no big deal. He told me that his car passed. He had no issues. Although he did say that the taxi was not his, that he drives it for a company, that drives it for a boss. That reminds me of another story. I'll try to remember it. If I don't, I'll try to remember next week. Anyway, I asked every taxista and every Uber driver what they thought of the smog verification thing. And apart from that first driver, they all hated it. They hated it. And they hated Alfaro, the governor. They called it robbery. They called it theft. They called it graft, unfair, everything under the sun and in the book. It was amazing what I heard. One said it wasn't fair because the older cars were failing the test. Another said that a bad tank of gas could foul up the test, and that happened to him. He said. Another said that if their car failed, they were forced to pay for expensive equipment to correct the issue, which may fix the problem or may not fix the problem. One guy said that it made no sense to do this because there's no smog creating industry in Puerto Vallarta, I guess other than automobiles. Another said that Vallarta is on the ocean, so they're not in a valley where the smog can collect. They said how difficult it was for some folks to come up with the 500 pesos to take that test. 500 pesos is about $28 American. And that verification was not just a one-time deal. It was going to be a yearly thing that they were going to have to do. So many of them claimed that the money was going to go into the pockets of the governor. Nobody was happy. And then just the other day, Governor Alfaro was in Vallarta. He was holding a news conference, and he was taking questions from Vallarta reporters. And Governor Alfaro says, hey, the money is for the youth. It's for parks. It's for the environmental programs, he says. He says the opposition is all political and that the current mayor and the city council in Vallarta don't see eye to eye on the subject with him. And he stated that, in that press conference, he stated that it wasn't his decision to do this, that the state government, the legislature of Jalisco, passed the legislation, and that was that. And when he was asked by a reporter if Nayarit had the same program, the state of Nayarit is above Jalisco, it's Nuevo Vallarta, he kind of brushed it off. He bristled a little bit, and he said, hey, this is a Jalisco state program. And he moved on. So this is not going away, and there have been others over the last couple of weeks. There have been more protests planned as well, so we will see what happens. Now, you might ask, well, what happens if you don't get your car smogged? What happens if you don't get it verified? Well, you get fined, of course. The fines are 103 pesos a day. That's 3,153 pesos a month, or 37,844 pesos a year. So, mere peanuts. Hardly anything, right? Anyway, this is going to be a real mess. So stay tuned. It is not going away anytime soon. I got a note from Gabino Sandoval Barrera. He is the pull tab purse maker. He tells me, Barry, Olas Altas Market, Farmers Market will remain open 2 more weeks in May. Saturday, May 6th, which is come and gone, folks, from 9 to 2, and Saturday the 13th from 9 to 2. Also, the Art and Marina Market in Vallarta are open 2 more weeks in May as well. So he asked me to spread the word around. We're looking forward to keep providing all of our wonderful products to our friends. Sincerely, Gabino. So there you go. If you are going to be in town, the markets are open. It looks like for 1 more week for each the Marina and the Olas Altas markets. And then hasta la vista until November, baby. So thank you for that message, Gabino. Now, I don't know if you've seen some of Gabino's new designs, but, these colored pull tabs, he's incorporated them into his bags and purses and belts, and they're just beautiful. And, they're made from these pull tabs that come in, different colors other than the metallic, aluminum pull tops that you see all the time. Now you see them in red and you see them in green and blue, and they're really pretty. And when you combine these things all together, they make really, really pretty purses. So I have some pictures of those in the show notes, and I'll have a link to his website, his Facebook page as well. Speaking of things coming to an end, the last hurrah was held at El Rio Barbecue. The word was that it is the end of El Rio. Something will be coming there instead, and it won't be them. So I've heard from several friends that the reality is that Kurt really wants to give it a rest, at least for a while. I can't imagine what kind of work and what kind of time and money that goes into that place just to keep it running with all the help and the bands and the social media team. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot out of an owner of a business. Lots of headaches, people problems. I mean, that's for sure. So anyway, hats off to Kurt and Hollis. You guys put together a very cool spot where vacationers and locals could come to dance and, the best live music in the Bay, right next to the Rio Quale with those soaring cliffs that reflected and enhanced that music, acting like the acoustics of the Hollywood Bowl, where folks could come and eat some great barbecue, drink buckets of beer, and, imbibe on adult beverages. You guys did that for many, many, many years. So Kurt, Hollis, we're going to miss you. Who knows what's in store for that location? We will keep our eyes and ears open for that news. I read in the Banderas news the other day that the Estero Salado is reopening, and the Estero, or the estuary, is known as the lungs of Puerto Vallarta due to the lush and dense vegetation. It's fed by 2 rivers, and it's home to the North American crocodile population there. Actually, here's an article dated April 21st. Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, after being closed for more than 2 years due to the pandemic and improvement works, the Estero El Salado, a protected natural area in the heart of the Puerto Vallarta Hotel Zone, will soon reopen its doors to the public, according to Jaime Torres, director of the estuary. It's true, we have taken a long time to reopen, but you will see that it was worth the wait when you come visit El Salado Estuary again. We're going to have more staff and more equipment, all with the user's safety in mind, Torres said. El Salado comprises 169 hectares, of which approximately 135 correspond to mangrove vegetation and wetlands. The rest is made up by 2 medium forest remnants bordered by water and underwater vegetation, thorn forest, and secondary vegetation. Fed by the Quale and Ameca rivers, the estuary is an important ecosystem for the region. The story continues, and I have a link in the show notes to that particular story and to their Facebook page. And, next time you come down, maybe you should go and visit. I know I would like to do that. I have never done it before. I've heard JR talk about it. I wonder if my wife will come along, or maybe she'll pass. I don't know. She's a little creeped out about crocodiles. Me too. Well, kinda. Anyway, I'm going to go, and I think you should think about going too. They've been shut down for a couple of years, so hey, let's just go. Once again, I have a link to that Banderas News story in the show notes. Now, I received some really great emails from some of you about our planned move. When I say that, I mean my wife and I are planning to move to Puerto Vallarta before the end of this year. And so anyway, I want to thank you all so much for the encouragement and the good wishes. Some of you wanted to know how I got my wife to agree to actually come with me to paradise. It's kind of complicated, and I'll tell you about it sometime. Matt and Jody from Canada and Derek, also from Canada, wanted to know if I would keep them posted on my progress and on the process of the move, and I will do that for sure. Actually, we have a phone consultation set up with an immigration attorney tomorrow, and we'll begin our search in July. So we're pretty excited about that. And we've been going through our house, actually one room at a time, one drawer at a time, and, throwing stuff away or packing them into boxes to give away or to sell at a future yard sale or to take with us to Mexico. Now, this is the kind of stuff that your kids do after you die, right? And I have to know we're going to do it. So anyhow, I've interviewed dozens of folks over the last 6 years, and they've made this move, and somehow they've done it. They've moved to Puerto Vallarta, and they all have the same kind of story. They sell everything, or they give everything away to charity, or give stuff to their family and friends, and they pack about 6 suitcases, and they fly or drive down to Puerto Vallarta just to start a new life. And that's kind of what we're planning on doing. But, to do that, you really need to do a lot of purging. I mean, really a lot of purging. So now, as you know, my wife and I sell houses for a living in the Los Angeles area. We move people for a living. We do that. We've packed up entire houses for clients. So we know about emptying out homes. In fact, at this very moment, we're culling our own house, doing things to throw it away. We have a client who needed us to empty out a 2,000 square foot home in Simi Valley. He is the executor of this trust. There are no heirs. The money for the sale of the house is all going to go to charity. The mom and dad bought the house like 50 years ago, and they both died there. Their 2 sons were never married, and they never left the house. They both died, so their heirs, they had none. They had no kids. They had no nieces or nephews to leave the stuff to, or to empty the house for that matter. And my God, these guys were hoarders. And if you have a junk drawer, you have a junk drawer in your house. I think everybody's got a little junk drawer in their house, kind of a catch-all for everything. Gets all stuffed with all kinds of stuff. Well, every closet, every drawer in this house is a junk drawer. I swear to you. You open something up and you just know it's going to be stuffed full of stuff. Don't let your house turn into that, really. As realtors, we can tell you stories about situations that we've had over the years just like that. So anyway, we know not to collect stuff. And over the years, we've dumped most of that extra baggage precisely because of those experiences that we've had with pack rat home sellers. So we're going through drawers and old anniversary and birthday cards given to each other, cards from our kids when they were little. What do you do with those things? You can't take them with you. Do you just read them one more time and then throw them away? Do you scan them? Do you take pictures of them and then throw them away? I mean, it is a bit of a problem. It's a bit of a question. And then there is the expensive jewelry that I've made for my wife over the last 35 years. I never take anything like that to Mexico. I never wear or take expensive jewelry there. Do you sell it? Do you distribute it to your family and friends like before you die? And what do you do with firearms? I've got a couple of those too. So anyway, we're going to go through these cards and drawers and see what we can do. Debbie found a card as she was going through this stuff, and she handed it to me, said, "Do you need this business card?" I looked at it, and it was a business card that belonged to Memo Barroso from the old Toucan and from the Pancake House. And I met Memo, Debbie and I met Memo at the Toucan back in the 80s. And Memo was the guy who introduced my wife and I to Raicilla, right there at the old bar at the Toucan. And anyway, there was a falling out between Memo and Freddie, and Memo moved his Pancake House up the street. And in fact, we'll talk a little bit about that with Carlos when we get to his Ixtapa restaurant in just a few minutes. But I took a picture of that business card. I took the front and the back, and I put it in the show notes, as well as a picture of me holding my youngest son outside the toucan in 1992. That was when I didn't have gray hair. Anyway, check it out. It's in the show notes. And I want to thank all of you again for those emails. We'll keep you posted. We'll keep you filled in on every move of our move. That's for sure. And for those of you who asked me if I'm planning on selling their first Vallarta home to them, because I'm moving to Vallarta and I am a realtor, I'm on the fence about, bringing my real estate skills to Puerto Vallarta. I like the idea of just doing, interviews for the podcast without having to fly back and forth to Puerto Vallarta to get that job done. So I don't know what, I might do what retired people do. I might join a gym, for example, or maybe relax, get some hobbies, do some volunteering. We'll see. It's tempting, people like to work. We'll see. I'll tell you what, though, I sure like having my wife with me on these trips to paradise. She's been coming with me lately. I don't have to eat alone. That's really great. I don't have to sleep alone for that matter, but okay, never mind. Too much information. We'll just go. No, sorry. So for her birthday, I took her to one of my favorite little restaurants in Colonia, Ixtapa, called Casa de las Orquideas, and I'll be taking you there soon, like in a couple minutes soon. And then we took an Uber up to the Vallarta Botanical Garden, where I caught up with Bob Price, the director and the creator of the gardens. I wanted to catch up and see what was new and exciting at one of my favorite places on this earth. So let's go right now to a table in their lovely restaurant at the garden, and let's visit with Bob Price at the Vallarta Botanical Garden in Cabo Corrientes, but we like to think of it as being in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Bob, thanks for coming on the show again. How you doing?
Oh, Barry, I'm doing great. It's so great to see you today.
Tell us a little bit about, we're at the end of the season, but we're really not. I mean, it's pretty busy here, huh?
Yeah, the good news is we had our best season in our history. We were packed with visitors from all around the world, loving the gardens and spending their days with us here. And so we had a very busy high season, and we're grateful for that. And it hasn't really even slowed down. We're still seeing record numbers of visitors for this time here in April. So it looks like it's going to be maybe a busy summer here as well. And right now, today, we're filming a promotional video for the city of Puerto Vallarta here at the garden. So lots of stuff always going on here.
Yeah, no kidding.
We have another group of filmmakers are coming, documentary filmmakers, to do some photos of some endemic bees that live here. They're from the BBC in London, and they'll be here in June to spend a week or two with us filming the endemic orchid bees.
Orchid bees. All right. So what's the deal with the orchid bees? When you say endemic orchid bees, I mean, are they tiny or are they smaller than regular bees?
They're called Inglossine bees, and they pollinate the orchids, the vanilla orchids, and other orchids here, and they're a lovely metallic green color.
Oh, wow.
And very photogenic when they're being filmed, especially in slow motion, when you can really use one of these $100,000 cameras to capture their slow motion wing beats and the color of their beautiful green bodies. So we're going to be filming some orchid bees coming up, and through the summer we've got a couple of different festivals happening here in I believe it's June, and you can see the garden's website for the dates. But we have the Hummingbird Week coming up.
Great.
And Hummingbird Week will have guided hummingbird tours every morning, culminating with that Sunday with a day of dancing, folkloric dancing, and other fun things for the kids. So we have Hummingbird Week coming up over the summer. We have Butterfly Week coming up, both of those at the peak peak times of hummingbirds. The other peak time is probably, I think it's in August, which is the butterfly season during the rainy season. We have our most of our butterflies then. And so, yeah, there's a lot going on. We have educational programs that are going on all summer long here. Wednesday is the main day to avoid, I guess, if you don't want to be in the gardens with 100 kids.
Okay.
We have field trips those days, and but they're all out of here by 1 in the afternoon. And so, yeah, there's we have live music in the restaurant every day. We have the violin player up there for everyone's enjoyment. And so we invite you to come on out and see the beauty of springtime up in the mountains here.
When does the violin player play? And when does that happen?
He plays every day. He starts at 12 and plays until 2. And it's his name is Hector. He's the same violin player from La Capella Restaurant. So
all right.
Hector and Sergio, they're locally famous guys, and they play beautiful music.
Well, fantastic. I mean, with the violins in the background, this incredible vista that you've got here, from the restaurant, of course, overlooking the Rio Jocones. And, man, I mean, what better way to spend a little time, right, when you're in Puerto Vallarta?
Yeah, I don't want to brag or anything, but many people tell me, I'm always chatting with the visitors, and they say, oh, you know what, this is the best day of our vacation. We are so happy to be off of the hotel zone and up into the mountains. We've been down in town looking up at the mountains all this whole week, and we're happy to be up here now and to see this beautiful place and to experience the nature of Mexico. So it's quite a beautiful place where we have hundreds of blooming orchids. We have displays of carnivorous plants and aquatic plants, and we have collections of rhododendrons and goodness, we have all kinds of stuff here.
You do. I mean, and it's so bright and colorful right now this time of year. It is absolutely stunning. I noticed that as I was walking up to the chapel, I mean, you got your little graveyard filling up over there pretty big. I mean, what's going on? Are people dying left and right? What's going on here?
Okay, so we have two cemeteries there. One is the pet cemetery, where anyone can come and if they want to leave a special marker for their pet, we can help them with that. We have a program for the pet cemetery. And the other one is called the Garden of Memories. It's an ash scattering garden, and there's 9 souls in there, mostly ex-members of the Botanical Garden, but people we've known over their time here. And because Puerto Vallarta had a special place in their hearts, they wanted to spend all of eternity here, and what better place than at the Botanical Garden? So, it's a beautiful cemetery there, and it's a fun place to walk around and just have a moment of reflection and perhaps remember somebody who's passed away or not with us anymore. And my mom is even over there, so I always love to say hi to my mom when I'm walking by.
Yeah, that's an advantage now, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Tell us about the restaurant. I mean, let people know what's going on at the restaurant.
Wow, the restaurant is wonderful. We've redesigned our menu a little bit, but we're very conscious of providing visitors with an authentic Mexican experience. So our menu is very tilted towards Mexican food and using the finest ingredients, local ingredients that we can find. So we do have also have brick oven pizzas and other things if you're not in the mood for Mexican. But we do have authentic Mexican food here at the garden, served in beautiful ways, beautiful presentations. And the restaurant's very famous. A lot of people come here for breakfast and for lunch. We're open every day except Monday. So come out and try the restaurant, and you'll be very, very delighted.
Yes, you will. Now, I've been to an event here once before. You do events, right? So you do private events, or do you not? Come on.
No, we do private events. We were really hopping with events before COVID, and I think COVID has sort of changed the way that events are done a little bit, and people are doing more daytime events as opposed to nighttime events now, and that's fine. So we do both, but. Yeah, we do weddings here, birthday parties, just about anything you can imagine. But we have this very big facility here and holds a lot of people. And we can handle any event that you might have in mind. We have an event planner that works here on our staff. And so we're doing events. We have a couple of weddings right now coming up, and different birthday parties and things like that. So it's a great place to celebrate, beautiful place to bring your friends and family, and creates a great memory that'll last a lifetime.
That's for sure. Wow.
Yeah.
What a beautiful place to have an event. All right, and the way to do that is to contact the event planner, and that will be through your website, yes?
Yep, just check on the website, click on events, and you will be directed to Angel, is his name, and he'll take care of you.
Excellent. All right. Anything else, Bob? Is there anything else that I'm missing?
No, I just want to shout out to all of our members and our visitors from around the world who came to see us this year, and thank them for coming to the Botanical Garden. We're heading up to Dallas, Texas in June for the conference of the American Public Gardens Association, and always doing things to make our garden better and better all the time. So thank you very much, Barry. I appreciate you coming to see me today.
It's my pleasure. Once again, give us the hours for the off season, I guess you would say.
Yeah, the only hours is we are not open on Mondays, so don't come on Mondays. We're closed Mondays, but we're open all the rest of the week, Tuesday through Sunday, and there's live music every day, and it's. Things are just massively in bloom right now. I guess being springtime, the garden is full of flowers. And but yes, do come visit us, and we'd love to see you. And thank you all.
All right, thank you, Bob. It's always great to catch up with Bob Price and the cool things that are happening at the garden. I even had a chance to talk with a member of that film documentary crew. They are from Vallarta, and they're very passionate about filmmaking in Vallarta. I'm going to bring that interview that I had with one of those members of the crew in the coming weeks. Next, we head to Colonia, Ixtapa for a visit to a very unusual restaurant. It's called La Casa de las Orquideas, or House of Orchids. Now, if you take your time and you look up into some of the big older trees around Puerto Vallarta and look really closely with a discerning eye, you just might notice growing in the branches orchids. Really, look up, and just hanging there, you'll see wild orchids. In Mexico, you can find over 1,200 different varieties of orchids. Orchids prefer tropical hardwoods with rough tree bark or a shady palm tree, and they choose horizontal limbs that have some shade from afternoon sun to grow in. In fact, I've been approached on several occasions in Puerto Vallarta by guys who've actually fetched an orchid plant out of a tree, complete with the host branch from the tree in question. And if I lived in Vallarta, I might even buy one, but I could never get it home to California. They would not let me in. It's not permitted. So now I'm talking about orchids because I discovered this restaurant a couple of years ago, La Casa de las Orquideas, when I ran across it in a Facebook page. And my buddy Jeff Musto, the PV Kid, took me to Colonia Ixtapa for breakfast over at La Tienda Grande. And if you recall, we had Salvador Carrillo from La Tienda Grande on a couple of months ago. And after Jeff and I had breakfast over there, I asked him if he had ever heard of this place, and told him it was a breakfast restaurant. It was also in Ixtapa, and it was called Casa de las Orquideas. And I showed him their Facebook page, and he said, "Hey, it looks pretty close. Let's walk on over there, walk off our breakfast, and check it out." And as it turned out, it was a much longer walk than we expected, but We were pleased when we finally arrived at this lovely, lovely restaurant where you can sit down, you can dine, surrounded by orchids. Now, at the time, I spoke with Carlos's brother about maybe doing an interview. He was up to it, but it would have had to been in Spanish, and we just never had the time. But then I went back, I think a year later with Ray and Debbie for coffee. And then we came back for Debbie's birthday, actually last week. And I took her there for breakfast this time again with Ray and Debbie. But breakfast was excellent. And after breakfast, I stopped at a table that looked like it was being occupied by some pretty important people, like the people in charge. So I asked Carlos, who was sitting there, if he was a member of the family that owned the restaurant. He said yes. And I told him what I do, and if he would, be able to find some time to tell us the story of their family restaurant. Carlos agreed. Not only did he agree, but his English was really good, which makes my job so much easier. So we arranged to meet back at the restaurant the very next day to talk about the history of a beautiful restaurant in a cute little colonia in a pueblo that we love so much. So, hey, let's head over to Colonia Ixtapa, a few kilometers east of the Puerto Vallarta airport, and let's meet one of the family members who helps keep this family restaurant running. Let's meet my new friend, Carlos. Carlos, son of Father Juan Manuel Lepe, known fondly as Juan Lepe, and his mom, Elena Rios, making his name, you guess it, because they do this in Mexico, Carlos Lepe Rios. And so let's meet Carlos Lepe Rios at Restaurant La Casa de las Orquideas, Ixtapa, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Carlos, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Let me ask you, you are from Ixtapa, yes?
Yes, we're born here. We've been here the whole life.
Yeah?
My parents, my mom, she's from Ixtapa, and my father, he's from Mascota area up in the Sierra. But
Sure.
They met right here, so they started a family. So we are all born here.
All the kids were born here. So, and mom and dad met here in Ixtapa?
Yes, they met here.
Ah.
And, they got together. They started living together. They have their family. And then after, a few years, we decided to start the business here in the house because my dad, he was working as a chef.
Yeah.
But he was every time that we saw him coming from work, he was pretty tired. So I told my dad, you know what, why we don't start our own business now?
Right. What restaurant was it? Where was he working?
He used to be the chef at the Pancake House and Freddy's Tucan in
really?
Puerto Vallarta.
All right. So now So he was at Freddy's Tucan when it was Memo's.
Actually,
bar,
yeah,
right?
Memo and Freddy, they started Freddy's the El Tucan. They were partners at El Tucan,
Right.
and after that they split, and Memo started his own business at the Pancake House.
Right.
And my dad, he was working with them when they were partners. So he made the menu at the Freddy's Tucan, and then after that he was working with Memo.
Ah, okay. All right. Very interesting. Yeah, because there's kind of a history there in that whole area. I mean, the other day I found Memo's card. I found his business card. And I looked at the back, and he's an author. I looked at it and I said, hey, he's a writer. He's written a couple of books.
Yeah, he used to write a lot.
Yeah. That's quite a history. So we have right here at your restaurant, we have the guy who kind of developed that menu over at Freddy's Tucan, huh?
Yes.
How about
Yes,
that? What's your dad's name?
Juan Lepe.
Juan Lepe. Excellent. So there's some big history. There's some big history there, and there's some big history here. So when did this restaurant open?
This business we start first in 2001.
Okay.
That's the year that we opened the first time the restaurant, and we closed it in 2010 because after the recession from the States, so the business, it went down a lot. So it was pretty hard to keep the business.
Even Ixtapa, because I mean Ixtapa, you would think, it's not a real big tourist attraction, but I mean, even the Mexican economy really they took a dive, huh, during that time.
Yeah, actually, we were more focused on the local economy.
Yeah.
So our customers, they were local from Ixtapa and the little towns close to Ixtapa. But after, like I said, after that recession from the States, a lot of people, they went out of job. Well, they lost their jobs, and the economy went pretty bad. So it was kind of hard for us to keep the business going.
So when the economy goes bad up there, the economy goes bad down here.
Yeah. So we closed the restaurant in 2011. And we reopened the restaurant. Well, it was an idea from my brother. We reopened the restaurant in 2019.
Oh,
just
wow.
right before pandemic.
Oh, my gosh.
So, but we were doing pretty good. So during the first months of the pandemic, I mean, the people, they used to go out after May. It was kind of hard for us too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of business in Puerto Vallarta they
shut down.
They shut down, yeah.
Yeah.
So my brother and my dad, they decided to reopen the place. They remodeled the whole area, and they went back again with the business.
So when you opened that business originally, was it with all of these orchids and beautiful flowers too?
Yes, we start with the orchids and the garden. It was just all sod and plants in this area. It was very nice. Now we have to do this remodeling to put some shade for the people, because it gets pretty hot and the sun hits pretty hard. So we remodeled this area and we reopened the place with the same concept, the orchids.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Before it was the Juanitos, Restaurant Juanitos.
Okay. So it was a different name.
Yeah, it was a different name. So this time that we reopened the place, my brother, he decided to put La Casa de las Orquideas, because we collect orchids. My brother, he was a marine biologist, and he had a project in college to do some hybrids out of the orchids that we have right here.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he passed away the last year.
How old was he?
He was 45.
Wow, young guy.
Yeah, he was
so sorry.
4 years older than me.
Wow.
But he led us the knowledge how to treat the plants and all that. So that's why we just keep it going.
Yeah. Well, it's just beautiful. And, you can always find the pictures of those at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. Go to the website, go to the blog post, and check out the beauty of this gorgeous restaurant. And, yeah, there's nice shade. And when you come here and sit down, you will be very comfortable. That's for sure. Tell us about your menu. What do you have here?
Our menu, it's just breakfast. We have some pancakes, different types of recipes for pancakes, different stuffings. And we got some waffles. We got some gluten-free waffles.
Oh, yeah.
We got eggs any style. We got some omelets. We got some frittatas. We got eggs Benedict. And we got some Mexican dishes, too, like machaca. We got puntas a la mexicana. We got some tomatillo. We got chilaquiles. That's a very, very, very nice menu.
Yeah, it is. I had your machaca burritos, the breakfast burritos the other day. My goodness, knock your socks off. It was great. Delicious. So you are just open for breakfast then, right?
Yes, just breakfast.
All right. So give us your hours. What time do you open?
We start the service at 8, and we close the restaurant at 2.
And then
we are open from Tuesday to Sunday. We have the Monday off.
Take Monday off. So don't come out to Ixtapa expecting to have them open. Okay. Make sure that they're open before you take that trip. Ixtapa is kind of unknown to a lot of people that come to Puerto Vallarta. I mean, they fly over it, when they're coming in, but they don't make the trip or the journey. What happens out here? What kind of things are going on in Ixtapa?
Well, there's not much to see in Ixtapa. I mean, there's is more like the farms or the fields growing some corn, watermelons, and all that. It's not a tourist area. Sometimes they pass by when they do like the tumbagis, tours, and all that. So you can see Ixtapa when you pass by going to the Sierra or going to San Sebastian.
Right.
But there's not much to see right here in Puerto in Ixtapa. Just the restaurants that we have here in town.
Yeah. Now you also have a town square, right? So if somebody is trying to get to here, I guess you just tell the what I did was told the taxi driver it's around where the town square is, right?
We're just kind of far from the main plaza, but once you hit the highway to San Sebastian, you can ask the taxi driver, or even if you have Uber, you can Google the address and it's going to appear
right there. Yeah, he'll take
it's
you
going to
right
appear
here.
on Google too.
No doubt about it. So, like the as far as the industries go in here, it's mostly people that are living here. They're going out to Vallarta to work, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of the people right here in Ixtapa, we work in Puerto Vallarta because we work. We live from the tourist industry.
Right, right. So that makes sense. When like once again, when the tourists aren't there, they're hurting, right?
Yeah.
Oh wow. All right, so let's just leave this beautiful restaurant just for a minute. Let's go out into town. If you had a day off and you were had nothing to do, right? But you were gonna take a day trip, take your family somewhere and come back, where would you go?
Well, we love to go to Mascota, where my dad was born.
You still got family there?
Yes, we got family over there. So that's Mascota, and there's a little town going up to the Sierra to Juanacatlan. It's just right before the Sierra Lago, the lake that is just right on top of the mountain.
Right.
So that's a very nice town. We just go over there and spend a couple days. There's some cabañas right there. So the whole family, we just get together and we go and spend like 2-3 days over there once we close the restaurant.
Now that lake, is that lake the reservoir for the water for Vallarta?
No,
that's a different place.
that's a different place. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So but that lake it's a natural lake, huh?
No, that is just a small lake, and there's a lot of cabañas right there.
Okay.
The name of that place is that's a very nice place to go and spend a weekend. The name of that place is Sierra Lago. Now it used to be the Laguna de Juanacatlan. Now is the Sierra Lago. It's a private area now, but it's very nice.
Yeah, it sounds great. All right, well, I'll look it up, and once again, I'll have that in the show notes if you're interested in checking that place out one of these days. It'll be there. What else? I mean, if you were going to take 3 days,
3 days.
Well, of course, you were going to do 3 days. You're going to be in the cabañas, right? You're going to be doing that for 3 days,
and
right?
when we close Mondays, sometimes we get together and we like to go to Cajón de Peñas too to have very nice lobina. Fried lobina, it is amazing. If you have a chance.
All right, come on. What is lobina? I have no
That's
clue
a
what
white
that is.
fish. It looks like a sea bass. It's a very nice white fish, but it's very tasty.
And Cajón de Peñas.
Cajón de Peñas, that is the big area that they compress the water to support all the area from Tomatlan.
Okay, all right. So that itself is a reservoir for water for Tomatlan.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
That's the name of the place, Cajón de Peñas.
So how far is that from here?
It takes about 2 hours and a half.
Well, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
And the highway is pretty nice.
Is it? Yeah.
It doesn't take too long.
Very good, very good. Wow. Okay, so those are really interesting spots.
Yeah.
When you're up in the Mascota area, there's another place that I heard is called Yerba Buena.
La Yerba Buena.
Yeah, that's another little town.
That's a little town after Mascota. It takes about it takes about 10 minutes.
Really? So everything's really close by.
Yeah,
over
before
there,
you
right?
get the highway to Talpa de Allende, there's an highway on the left side it says La Yerba Buena. So you take the highway to Yerba Buena, and it takes about 10 minutes from Mascota.
It's just kind of
It's a very nice town. It's a very beautiful town.
Yeah.
In San Sebastian, there's another town before, on the halfway to Mascota. The name of that is San Sebastian, or San Sebastián del Oeste. That town has been there since the 1600s, and it was one of the richest towns in Mexico.
Yeah.
Because they had the mines right there for gold, copper, silver, and all that. They closed the mines already, but once you get there, you feel like if you're in the early days. The streets are very small. The houses are very nice, and the church, the little plaza, that's very, very nice.
It's gorgeous there. I mean, every turn is like a Instagram moment in San Sebastian. It's beautiful, huh? Wow. If you're going to stay in San Sebastian, where would you stay?
Actually, we just go right there for breakfast or lunch.
Oh, you just stay with your family in Mascota, don't you? Yeah. Of course you do.
It's pretty close. I mean, for me, there's no point to stay right there. It's spend like 1 or 2 days right there.
Very good. Very good. If you were going to take somebody, you got a friend coming into town, maybe never been to Vallarta, you're going to take them somewhere that would represents Puerto Vallarta. Where would you take them?
Well, I will take them to see the south area of the bay. Majahuitas, Quimixto, Las Animas, Jalapa. That's a very, very nice area. The water is very clear. The white sand beaches, that's amazing. And it's very quiet, and it's a very nice tour. You got to take the water taxi right there at Boca de Tomatlan. But if you go south of Puerto Vallarta, you won't get disappointed. That's a very, very nice area.
Great advice. Yeah.
There's a lot of things to do in every little town close to the beach. They have some waterfalls. They have the horseback riding and all that. So there's many, many activities to do in that area. So that'll be a very nice area to take one of the friends to see what Puerto Vallarta is, and because they come over to see the ocean, the beach, and all that. Right. So that's a very, very nice area to spend 1 or 2 days over there.
Yeah, like get out of the town, right? Get to a nice deserted or kind of deserted beach. I mean, they're not all deserted down there, that's for sure. If you had a word of advice for a first-time person that's coming to Puerto Vallarta, what would that be? Besides coming to Ixtapa and checking out your restaurant, which is pretty darn cool.
Well, they gotta. I mean, there's a very, very nice principal stop right there. You gotta go and see downtown area. There's a lot of history, and there's many things to see right there. If you're gonna get some souvenirs and nice restaurants, you gotta go to downtown area, because most of the people, they stay at the Nuevo Vallarta area, and there's just hotels. There's nothing to see right there. So I'll recommend them to go and see downtown area. It is very nice, and you can get very nice souvenirs for their parents back in home.
Yeah, very good, very good. Do you ever go nightclubbing? You ever go?
Actually,
go out
I don't
and
go
do
out
dancing, or are you just like one of these family guys?
Actually, we like more. We don't like more the ambience of the disco clubs and all that. We're more like the countryside.
Yeah,
we like charreria.
All right, so tell us about the charros and the charreria.
Yeah, my family, my nieces, my daughter, they are escaramuzas. That's the
really.
That's a very nice sport, national sport, and they do like a synchronized ballet on horses. So my 2 nephews, they do charreria. They're charros. They go to different competitions and all that. We love horses, so.
So, well, you're out in Ixtapa, so that's really cool. You're almost all the way to Arena Vallarta, where they have that thing every year with the charros, right?
Yeah. Actually, when they go to the competitions, we gotta go to another state just to compete. So that's a very nice experience too.
They get out and they get to see the country, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. So what states do you compete in?
Nayarit. Sometimes they go to Colima, they go to Michoacan, where the big tournaments are. Sometimes they get lucky during their competition and get many points. They get good positions and they go to the nationals, or it depends on the state.
So it's kind of like a rodeo, right? I mean, you're earning points so that you can rank, right?
Yeah, you can rank.
Wow, that's totally cool. That's totally cool. So your daughters are escaramuzas, and your nephews are charros. How interesting! How wonderful is that? All right. So, but when they do have those competitions here in Arena Vallarta, do they do them?
Yes.
Are they there?
Yeah.
All right.
They go there too.
That must make you proud, huh?
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, that's great. My wife loves horses, so this idea is great. Now, the costumes, the things that they wear, who makes those for them?
Oh, you got to buy those.
Yeah.
Or sometimes there are some guys that they come over and they take sizes and all that. So those are most of the customs. Those are handmade.
Yeah, I imagine they are. I mean, they've got to be all custom made, and
Yeah.
and are they kind of like team uniforms? Do they all kind of match? How do they do that?
Well, the shirt it has to match. For ladies, everything has to be the same.
Also, all ladies kind of look the same. Is that what you're saying?
All the ladies.
Interesting. Wow.
The teams from the for ladies, for the scaramuzas, they gotta be all the same.
Wow.
The custom has to be the same for all of them.
Well, I guess that makes it fair, right?
Yeah, there's the boots, the spurs, the saddle for the horse, and the dress, the earrings, and everything. It has to be the same.
Wow.
I mean, the horse is a different color, but all their arrangements, the saddles for the horse and all that, it has to be all the same.
Interesting. Wow. Well, if you have maybe a picture of them, maybe of their little team, I would love to put that in the show notes. So let me know if you can do that for me.
Yeah, actually, we have some pictures. So,
all right, good. I would love to have that in the show notes. All right. Well, let's come back. Let's come back to the restaurant. Let's tell everybody, how do we find this place? You have a Facebook page?
yes, you can find the restaurant at the Facebook. You can Google the address, and you can Google the restaurant too. So we have all the information, the social media. So
very good, and of course I'll have all those links in the show notes at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. I'll have their phone number. I'll have everything there, so you can find it, of course, or just use the Google. Get over there and just Casa de los Orquideas, or House of Orchids, Ixtapa, and Puerto Vallarta, and it will come up. Believe me, it did for me, and it will for you too. Is there anything I missed? Is there something that you wanted to add before we say goodbye today?
no, just thank you for coming. Thank you for the interview.
Oh, listen, it's my pleasure. I love this place. I love you. I love your restaurant. I love the flowers are just gorgeous, and the family is very, very nice. I love you guys. So thank you. Thanks for allowing me, Carlos, to introduce you and your family to my family, to the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show listeners. I truly appreciate it.
Okay, no, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Carlos. What a beautiful restaurant, and what a lovely family. I have some lovely pictures of Carlos's daughters and nephew in their escaramuza and charro outfits, with the horses all dressed up in those beautiful outfits. They're in the show notes, as well as some pictures of the inside of the restaurant, of course, some food porn, and all that information, all of their information is in the show notes, including a Google map that will take you to their front door. So get out to Ixtapa. This is the second place now that I've taken you to in Ixtapa. Get out there and visit them the next time you come to Puerto Vallarta. Well, that should do it for today. Next week, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant excursion ideas, and more. But until then, remember that this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and your suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that I should be talking about, well, please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending us your message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com, that's JR's website, and reserve your tour through him right from his website. Remember, this is a value for value proposition. His experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to use someone else to do it, so do it, really. And when you do take one of those tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget his maps, his DIY tours. I have all those links to all of those things in the show notes. Once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time to subscribe and follow or share with a lover of Puerto Vallarta, or just give me a good review wherever you happen to be listening. That way we get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And remember, I made it easy for you to do just that with each episode I create. But if you haven't been to my website, shame on you. You need to get there. You really have to have a look. I have links to the places we talk about, interesting pictures, and more right there in my blog posts and in the show notes for each episode of the show. So check them out for sure if you haven't already. All right? All right. Thanks so much to Bob Price from Vallarta Botanical Garden. Get on over there during the rainy season so you can catch that roaring Rio Horconis and those lovely flowers and plants. And remember, they're closed on Mondays during the slow season. So don't forget. And thanks so much to Carlos Lepe Rios from restaurant La Casa de las Orquideas in Colonia, Ixtapa. Go for breakfast or an early lunch and eat among the orchids and con la gente. I have a map and I have links in the show notes, of course. And thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler, signing off with a wish for you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino eterno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río cuando todo está en calma. Pronto cae la noche, me brillas Puerto Vallarta, samba de Puerto Vallarta.